and what did it get me? Why did I do it?
I'm so glad you asked. The 4B movement is a movement in South Korea right now where the misogyny and sexism is so bad that South Korean women have decided to opt out of dealing with men entirely. That is not a joke. That is not an exaggeration. They are not dating men. They are not marrying men. They are not having children with men. They're not even sleeping with men anymore. And it's called the 4B movement because the Korean words for those four things all start with the letter B. This kind of first started happening around 2016 when Kim Ji-young, born 1982, a novel came out. And it is a fictional book about a Korean every woman and all of the misogyny and sexism that she's experienced from literally being a child all the way to her being an adult, suffering with postpartum depression after having her child. Now, this book became a runaway bestseller among South Korean women because they were like, she's just like me for real. And that's kind of when it started cooking, right? Now, the movement officially got its name in 2019, and it's just been going ever since. It's so successful, in fact, that now South Korea has one of the lowest birth rates in the world. The number of deaths in South Korea outnumber the number of births in South Korea. And it's hilarious because all the men and the government are like, oh my God, what do we do? They don't want to like talk to us. They don't want to date us. What do we do? Like everything's in shambles. We don't know what to do. When South Korean women have been very clear from day one, they're like, hey, either you get your act together or we are literally eliminating all of this. Like, we are shutting it down. So that's the 4B movement and why I'm so obsessed with it and why I think we should have the 4B movement everywhere. Thanks for listening. Bye!
But the women of South Korea have gotten so fed up with the misogyny.
Oh, girl, wait, hold on. It's so much worse than that. It's so much worse. And I mean worse in a really good way. Like, like, yay, team. The situation has gotten so bad. They don't have any kids. They don't have any first graders enrolled in over 150 schools. And the gag is they've only been doing this since 2019. So in 5 years' time, they have managed to erase an entire class of youth. It didn't even take them that long. It's only been 5 years. This is really bad. Now, I took statistics in high school, and I don't remember much, but I do recollect what my teacher said when numbers drastically change consistently over a certain amount of time, whether it goes up or down, whether it is good or bad, once it gets to a certain point of no return, that shit's like a domino effect. It's only either gonna get better or worse. And if these women in Korea continue this for another 5 to 10 years, oh boy. Like, think about it. In 10 years, stacked on top of the 5 they already got underneath their belt, 15 years go by, there will not be a graduating class of 2039. We could very well see an entire generation completely wiped within our generation. And Korea it ain't little. It's so fascinating that they've managed to do this in such a short amount of time. Like 5 years. No first graders? Just imagine what that looks like in like 4 years. There won't be whole ass elementary schools, period. And they're trying to pay these women. They're so desperate. They're like, all right, listen, hold on. We'll cut you a check. For every kid that you have, we'll give you like 75 grand. And them ladies was like, fuck out of here. No, that's quite all right. This is delicious. I truly hope that, women here in the States can get it together long enough to make this happen here. If fuck around and find out was the ultimate stage, it would be right here.
So it's official. The creator is leaving. And I don't know why this thing gave me blue eyes, but I'm not changing it. Anyway, the creator has officially said,
get somebody else to do it.
Get somebody else to do it. The 4B movement. Now, anybody that follows my videos knows I've been talking about this for a while. Mainly the masculine's existential fear of being abandoned.
The fear of women not needing men
is part of that younger gender's fear of not having big sis or mommy around. Knowing that we can leave them, abandon them at the mall or wherever they are having fun is scary, especially when you're a child. We're leaving the baby. What kind of mothers are we? Not only is the parent abandoning the child, she's also leaving the baby out of the fun part, making a club. And the masculines love being a part of a club. So they made the 4G movement for men. No schmecks, no time, no provision, no babies. I love this. Remember when I said that men are the younger gender and they represent the younger energy, which is masculine energy? This is the energy that's all about games and competition, comparing yourself to someone else. They don't realize this isn't a game. They think it's a game, or rather they're hoping it's a game, which is kind of sad because it shows that all of this time they did not realize, like they weren't thinking this whole misogyny thing through, this patriarchy thing. They weren't thinking it through. When they were creating the floor is lava, they started to actually believe the floor is lava. They started actually believing that telling women that once they're over 30 that they're worthless, while also relying on women to do all the household responsibilities and carry the mental load and bear them children and be abused. Like they really believed that a woman saying, I have a man, was worth all of that, was something that we would take to the bank, even after we weren't legally forced to. Outside of coercion, there is no reason to center a romantic relationship with a man. This relationship can't work romantically. So yeah, again, this is a wonderful time to be alive. I am so grateful to be able to witness this shift.
You gonna respect this.
Respect us.
Respect it.
Don't mess with
Don't
us.
mess with us.
That ain't right.
Yeah.
We don't take nothing off
We
nobody.
don't take shit.
Don't
We'll take shit.
nothing. Don't take shit.
Hey,
don't
come on,
take.
come on.
Don't take shit.
No, hey, we're good.
Okay, so there are 5 things that men are going to do to try to fight the 4B movement. One of them is going to be terror. They're going to use terror to threaten women. They're going to try to scare women, but telling us all the things they're going to do to us. And some of them are going to actually act out these things. So you're right. It would be good to get your self-defense strategies ready. Thing number 2 will be sour grapes. Oh, we didn't want you ladies anyway. Y'all are over 30. Y'all are used up. Just that. Third thing that they're going to do is attempt to appeal to and exploit feminine empathy. Y'all are really being selfish. You're really hurting people. You women don't care about what this is doing to the world, to the male loneliness epidemic. This is pretty much just the baby crying. You know, if you're black, we all black people need to come together. We can't keep doing this gender war thing. Thing number 4 is going to be attempting to start movements of their own, which they've already done. Well, everything I'm saying they've already done and are already doing, but this one will be short-lived because they don't have a good reason for wanting to divest from romantic relationships with women. And they've never been in romantic relationships with women. They've just been exploiting women. Collectively speaking, on an individual basis, you know, I can't speak to that, but collectively speaking, fabricated romance has been pretty much a collective exploitation of feminine energy in women. Number 5, the 5th thing that they're going to do when all else fails is call daddy. Dad is the law. This is happening now as well. Reproductive rights being taken away from women. That's the boys calling daddy in order to force mom to stay. We're seeing it all play out, but it's really interesting.
The 4B movement is going to force men to be red pill. It doesn't matter if you're single, married, in a relationship. You're going to be forced to be a red pill brother, man. And if you're already a red pill man right now, this 4B movement is a victory for us, because everything that we've said, every boundary that we set, that's what we meant. And this is why they have to do what they have to do. You understand what I'm saying? Because we told them we don't want no old single mothers. We don't want women with high body counts. And so with that being said, like, they have to do this, guys. You have to understand, This is a victory for men. Because listen, we know that the majority of the women who are talking all this about the 4B movement, they've hit the wall, they're over 30, they had children before they got married, they've never been married, but they got children, and they got a high body count, bro. You know what I'm saying? So they're doing us a favor.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
So this 4B movement, hey, I'm cool with it. I think let them have it. I don't think men should come up with no 4G movement. I don't think we should come up with a movement to coincide with what they got going on. Let them have that. Most women are misandrous anyway. They hate men. They hate men. They hate everything about men. They don't like how we talk. They don't like the masculinity. They don't like none of that shit. So that's perfectly okay. I'm okay with that. As a man, as me, I'm okay with it. But how you combat that is you take your provision, you take your protection, you take all that shit and ball it up and you hold it as a man. And when the shit hit the fan, guess who they looking for? Men. That's it.
We have the power to make morons go extinct.
Can't wait till y'all use some of them powers to make white supremacy go extinct. Anywho, ladies, I love this 4B movement for y'all. I believe y'all can do it, you know? I believe y'all can do it, you know? Birth rates went down, women aren't having sex anymore, these babies really just falling out the sky. Y'all can really do it, This movement that y'all created, yeah, I'm rocking with it. Y'all can do it, I believe in y'all. I'm rooting for y'all big time. Leave us crazy men alone. Fellas, we did this to ourselves. These women are tired. They are so tired that they had to steal another woman's movement. Another race of women. That's how tired they are. They couldn't come up with their own scheme. They couldn't come up with their own movement. That's how tired they are. We need to do better. Ladies, we deserve this. 4B for life.
Are we not going to talk about how feminism is led by misandry? Like the 4B movement? Is that not of the devil? Like, it's literally evil. These women are talking about how they're not going to date men, sleep with men, procreate with men, and all these other things, right? And it's like, wow, like, what are you going to do? Feminism is going to lead these women into dating each other. Literally, that's it. This is not going to benefit you in any way. In any way at all. Like, what is this going to do? The 4B movement? This just screams you hate men. Like, imagine if men got on this app and said, oh yeah, we're going to participate in the 4Bs and we're not going to sleep with women. We're not going to talk to women or date women. We would get shamed for that. Actually, you know what it sounds like? It sounds weird. Like, this literally goes against human nature. You're not going to sleep with men and procreate with men and marry men. Who in their right mind would want to participate in that? Actually, a misandrist. That's who. Like, imagine if men got on this app and said, oh yeah, we're going to participate in the 4Bs.
If us men were to sit here and create a movement where we wanted to no longer center women and we wanted to keep to ourselves and stay far away from them as possible, I think that they would absolutely love that. I think if every woman on the planet had the choice to be a lesbian, they would absolutely take it. I ain't trying to sound like no simp or nothing, but bro, us as men, we suck. We're their number one unaliver by a mile, bro. Like, the vast majority of us are extremely dangerous to them. And they have a right to feel how they want to feel. And all they're saying is they just don't want to center us anymore. You know what I mean? If you really that guy, earn them. I mean, what's the problem? I mean, you ain't got no riz, you ain't got no game. I mean, are you a terrible person? If that's not you, then why are you getting so uptight about this movement? You want to change their minds, earn them back. They're just letting you know that us men ain't the only ones with all this power. They got the keys now. And without them, civilization doesn't move, bro. They're demanding their respect, deservingly so. So how about we give it to them, earn them back, so we can get this ish back on the roll. If not, they're out of here, buddy. And that's not on them, that's on us. Respectfully.
The only men who are upset about the 4B movement are men who, on some level, are completely aware that they are the problem, that they are the reason that kind of movement even exists. And it's like the petulance of saying, like, no, I'm not going to listen, I'm not going to communicate, I'm not going to be sensitive to my partner's needs, I'm not going to be thoughtful and considerate and treat my partner like a human being, and I shouldn't be forced to do any of those things. I mean, the temper tantrums I've seen from men just on TikTok about this have been amazing and completely unsurprising in every way, shape, and form.
I'm going to make a video that's way more in depth on my YouTube about this, but I'm just hearing not only about the 4B movement, I've been hearing about that. The 4G, I'm assuming that's for top G's, top gangsters. I'm assuming that's for guys. But I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, and I will not assume that it's for guys who want to be like Andrew Tate. But oh, actually TMI, because I'm going to say some adult things right now. One of the criteria was no provision. And I'm going to tell you right now, these women can work their own jobs. These women can go to school on their own. They can put their money in a bank account. They can have friends. They can invest in themselves. That ain't going to be no problem. But the one that I really wanted to get to was no sex. I mean, it's not like y'all getting it anyway. But I think this is an amazing, amazing idea that non-religious men are finally having. Like, maybe you should go celibate. Because it seems like for a majority of guys, this subconscious game that you can convince a woman to want to give something to you that she had no intention of giving to you, if you just become the right kind of man, never gonna happen. People like you or they don't like you, move on when they tell you no. But even for the guys that are engaging in relations with women, you don't make them feel comfortable enough to be able to reach their O point. And if you've engaged, you know what I mean by that. They don't feel vulnerable in their emotions. They don't feel like they can be present with you. They don't feel like they can even engage with you, because for most people, they feel like sex is just to gratify the man that they're in relationship with, so they don't stop being provided for and cared for. And then what's even worse than that is that most of you guys gratify yourself with these women, and then after that, you don't even have the decency to care, like do the aftercare. You know what's so wild? Just analyzing, and not even hookup culture, well, I mean, a little bit hookup culture, but just analyzing all the issues that men are having with the 4B movement. You got to realize it's just exposing the fact that men need women more than women need men. And if women are willing to go on that no contact business, like the way that a victim of narcissistic abuse needs to go no contact for the narcissist to finally look into a mirror, because narcissists love to break mirrors and never look at themselves and actually take accountability. Personally, I think it's going to be the self-destruction of like 70% of men in this country. And I think it's going to completely jack up population, completely reconfigure demographics, completely change the population and migration status of this country. But that's what I'm going to get into in the YouTube video. For right now, I just want you to know that those of you guys who are so against the 4B movement, I want you to know that when this does start getting implemented on like a mass scale, you are the only person to blame after this. Women are not asking you to do a lot. It's not a lot to be a decent human being. It's not a lot to educate yourself. It's not a lot to humble yourself in places that you don't need to exert power over people to feel like you're better than them. You don't need to subjugate people beneath your ego so you can feel like you can accept yourself as a human being. You can just accept yourself for contributing to society and taking care of yourself with some decent standards. Oh, you know what? In this new world that we're so afraid of going into, where feminism and wokeness dominates everything, maybe women, in their ability to understand what it means to care and connect with themselves and with other women, can share those lessons with us as men, giving us the time and the space to care about our mental health, giving us the opportunity to contribute to society, to extend to more than just our own nuclear family and our own personal legacy. Most of you guys don't even have a legacy. Most of you guys don't even have enough money to pay bills every month. Let's be honest with shit. What legacy are you going to pass down? Debt? Mental illness? But, you know, for all my years, if there was an award ceremony for being misrepresented as a pander, for just spreading good information, I'd have like 6 MVPs. But, you know, the truth is doing all the karma that I need to these people, bro, who just want to stay ignorant. So for everybody who's seeing this 4B movement and we're excited to see where it's going to go, I just want you to know I'm excited as ever. I'm ready to see what's going to happen to these alpha males when they finally realize that they are their own issue. And if they're going to destroy the entire world because they refuse to take accountability, or they're willing to destroy the ego that the patriarchy has created within them so that patriarchy could continue itself while using all of our ignorance rather than the patriarchy actually reciprocating the energy it exploits from us to actually make decent human beings, create conscious communities, and maybe change the world. You guys have a good day, and make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel because I'm going crazy on there all year.
Do I agree with the 4B movement in theory? Yes. But do I have a problem with the 4B movement? Yes. I'm a red and I'm gonna make this very plain. So TikTok, this is for educational purposes only. A Beretta is I am telling you to get you choosing to leave men alone don't mean that you will be left alone. So if you don't want to get a Beretta, you will be in a body bag. You really think that a man is just gonna stop with y'all? No, you just gonna get this ain't motherfucker. These motherfuckers ain't no self-Koreans. When has a man ever listened to anything that you have ever done? Ever. Y'all supposed to be the smart ones. Y'all supposed to be the smart ones. That's the thing. Y'all thinking about a logical way. Men are emotional. Y'all trying to make sense. They're gonna do what they want to do like they always have as a woman. You cannot keep a man from nothing that he really wants. Even if that thing is your own body. The only reason that your body is yours is because he does not want it bad enough. You remember that for the rest of your life. You remember that for the rest of your life. The only reason why that man has not taken your body from you is because he does not want it bad enough. If that man wants your 10-year-old daughter's body, he will take it from you. Unless you get up. That is what y'all are not seeing. So if I get one more notification or one more stupid ass thing, I'm like motherfucking Dora the Explorer. Swipe or no swiping. Or no swiping. You choosing to leave men alone don't mean that you will be left alone. So if you don't want to get...
If you have not watched his video, go watch his video. But this will be an unforeseen issue with the 4B movement once it becomes widespread in America. Patriarchy here has given men a sense of entitlement that is almost insane. One of the reasons we have not seen a rise in violence in the way that we could have is because there are women still giving losers coochie. The moment that women stop giving losers coochie, all hell is gonna break loose. And I am a part of the 4B movement, and I am prepared for what is yet to come. But I'm telling you, once women decide in mass numbers that they're not going to give losers coochie, there will be an increase in violence with these men against women. Women giving losers coochie is what's kind of keeping them at bay, and it still ain't been keeping them at bay enough. Mark my words, we will see an increase in violence. That is why I am urging women, get you a pum-pum, take defense classes to learn how to fight, learn how to protect yourself, because the moment women stop giving them losers the buns, we gonna have to start putting them down like dogs. I hate that. I'm not for violence, but this is reality. So get prepared.
Korean women have no idea what the 4B movement is, and we need to stop this misinformation online. By now you've probably heard that Korea has one of the lowest birth rates in the world. And a lot of people on TikTok specifically are attributing this to the 4B movement, which if you don't know, it's a radical feminist movement that basically tells women to completely eliminate men in their lives, which includes not dating them, not marrying them, not sleeping with them, not having children with them. When you search up the term on TikTok, you will not see one single Korean person being like, yes, this is me right now, this is me, I'm 4B. As someone who has lived in Korea for 4 years, the first and only time I've ever heard about this movement is from TikTok, from Western creators. I asked my Korean friends like, hey, what do you think about the 4B movement? They literally told me, I don't know what that is. Something to also note, in Korea, being a feminist or referring to yourself as a feminist is still kind of like taboo. Tell any Korean man that you're a feminist, he'll look at you crazy. So no, the birth rate in Korea is not low because of the 4B movement, a movement which started around 2016/2019. It's because it's just too expensive. People are still dating, people are still getting married at a lower rate, but again, it's because it's too expensive. Speak to any Korean person and they will say, I want to get married. I maybe want to have kids if I can afford it. No normal everyday Korean person is telling you, yes, I'm practicing the 4B movement. Korean women have no idea what the 4B movement is, and we need to stop this misinformation.
Okay, so thank you to my friend Annie for making that video, because I am a Korean woman currently living in Korea and I have so much to say about this topic. So most of the 4B movement videos that I've seen on TikTok are made from foreigners, and I think Korean Americans or just Asian people living in the West, but not actually people living in Korea. So like I said, I live in Seoul. What I think is happening is the Western media likes to really pick up on these sensationalist, provocative topics and then makes it into an article, and then everyone on TikTok follows suit and makes videos about it. But let me tell you, I am 29, going to turn 30 this year, and literally all the conversations that I have with my friends around my age is about, oh my god, we're looking to get married, we need to find good partners, and we need to do this before it gets too late or we're just like aged out of their marriage market, you know? And I just made a YouTube video about this, Korea's population crisis, why nobody's getting married or having babies. But I also explained there are services in Korea like marriage matchmaking services where people go and you pay a broker and you submit all this information about yourself, your income, your assets, your family background, if you have any debt, like which university you went to, you submit all that information, and then they take that and then they will try to match you up with people who they think that you're on par with. So you know how you see in K-dramas how like the poor girl ends up marrying the richest CEO of Korea? Yeah, in reality that never happens. So people go to these marriage services and they're heavily used. There are literally so many in the country because everyone is using them. And so the 4B movement in Korea is a very, very small fraction of the whole Korean population in general. It's just the Western media likes to highlight that part and make it seem like it's the biggest issue in Korea, which it really is not. I can promise you that. Don't believe all those sensational articles written online all the time. Most people in Korea still like the other sex. We want to date, we want to find love, we want to get married. Those are like the big majority, and it's only the small group of extreme radical misandrists and extreme radical misogynists. They just seem like the loudest because the most attention goes to them. But yeah, I literally just dropped a YouTube video explaining about this whole thing, so go watch it, Anna Lee on YouTube. The 4B movement in Korea is a very, very small fraction of the whole Korean population in general. It's just the Western media likes to highlight that part and make it seem like it's the biggest issue in Korea.
Hi, my name is Hajin. I am a Korean American woman that lives in the States, and I'm a fan of Anna's content, but I have a little bit of a bone to pick with some of her perspectives or line of thinking in her last TikTok. So please don't send her hate. I am a fan of her YouTube videos and I like the content she puts out, but sometimes I feel like, I see this in my Korean peers too, but I feel like my friends in Korea, they either are delusional or in denial of the very real societal problems that exist over there, or they just choose to like turn a blind eye and say, oh, it doesn't affect me, so I'm gonna choose not to care about it. So here we go. I think Anna said that the main issue of people not getting married in Korea is because of capitalism, essentially. And while she's not wrong with capitalism being an obvious contributing factor to why people are struggling over there, it would be delusional and foolish to deny the very real disparity between the female Korean experience versus the male Korean experience. For some context, Anna is right in that the 4B movement is a very fringe radical feminist movement in South Korea. And I should also take the time to explain that the word feminism does not have the same meaning, the same connotation in South Korea. It has an incredibly negative connotation, and it's not what we think it means the way we use it in the West. And a huge reason for that is because if you look up Megalia on Wikipedia or Google, you can read about this very, very misandrist social movement that was in Korea in 2015. Basically, that movement started because it was an extreme backlash against the patriarchal structure that women felt like they were being oppressed by in Korea. And while that was also an incredibly fringe, radical feminist misandrist movement, it caught traction because they were spewing a lot of violent, hateful rhetoric. They were pretty much female incels, femcels. So understanding that context, the word feminism does not have a positive or good connotation in South Korea. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, let me explain my thoughts. I don't think Anna is wrong that financials are one of the biggest reasons that people aren't getting married and having children. And no, the 4B movement, because it's not mainstream, that is not the main contributing factor to why women are not having kids. But what she is missing, and what I feel like the Western social media audience is missing, is that these are all symptoms of a very, very big issue. Even thinking about it in the workplace, I know Anna said in her last video something about how the South Korean average salary is nowhere near the US salary, which is true, it is very low. But the salary doesn't even matter when women can't even get leave for their pregnancy. Women are fully expected to quit their jobs or they get let go. So sometimes even during the hiring process, hiring managers will ask, do you plan on getting pregnant? Because they want to know if you have the potential to leave. And if so, then they won't hire you in the first place. I know this is all over the place, but try and stay with me. The reason I really just wanted to come on here and talk about this, by the way, is because I'm seeing how my fellow Korean people who are uneducated about these very real symptomatic issues of a larger societal issue in our culture, I feel like it's preventing us from progressing, honestly, as a humanity. And it's just living in denial about very real pressing matters that we have the ability to fix. And I'm seeing how, at least for Korean women, we hold a lot of internalized misogyny. And I don't blame us for that, because how could you not, considering the culture we come from? But this is a modern world, and we really need to expand our consciousness. And if we want to progress as a human being, then we need to be willing to hear the other side. Another very real problem in South Korea is actual crimes. A lot of foreigners and Koreans alike love to tout that, yes, Korean women feel safe walking alone at night at 3 a.m., coming home from the bar, walking the streets alone. And while I have been that Korean woman myself whenever I was visiting and partying it up out there, I feel like, again, people are looking at things from a very superficial lens. Sure, South Korea, they don't have guns. Sure, they don't have gun violence in South Korea. That's not a thing because guns are not legalized over there. Trigger warning here, I'm going to talk about SA. I don't even know where to begin to talk about this because I have a lot to say on this topic. But the South Korean justice system is a joke. And I believe that that also is another symptom of a very large issue, a societal issue in South Korea. For instance, rapists and SAers, their sentencing is hardly enough to justify the crimes that they committed against women, young girls, young boys. And oftentimes these abusers get off on probation. And then once they're released from their crimes, there's no other laws protecting them from hurting more victims. Their justice system is a joke. It's abysmal and it's pathetic, and I'm going to shout that from the rooftops until I die. Because I am an SA survivor myself, and I'm a huge advocate for victims and survivors alike. I just feel like SA gets brushed under the rug heavily in East Asian culture, and I think this is something that needs to be highlighted. Because a lot of these SA crimes happen within families. And because our culture is so contingent on saving face and not bringing shame to our family, many victims are expected to suffer through it alone. Another thing that I feel like Anna failed to mention is the fact that we have very defined gender roles in Korean society. That's still very ingrained in just East Asian culture in general, but it is very embedded in Korean society from my personal observation and experience. For instance, if you guys watch K-dramas, there's always some kind of line in there with the male lead or the female lead saying something like, oh, a man's supposed to be like this. 남자가 이렇게 해야 되잖아. 남자는 이런 거잖아. And that just cringes me the fuck out. It's just like, way to continue to perpetuate these gender roles that you desire to escape from secretly. I'm sorry guys, I'm getting heated and all over the place, and I'm sure I don't even fucking make sense, but I just have a lot to say on this topic. Let's not forget to mention the very creepy tropes that K-dramas and other popular forms of Korean media seem to perpetuate. Like super huge age gaps between like an oppa character and then a 여동생, where it's like a 12 or 13-year-old girl and then it's like this 19 or 20-year-old college dude that's still like simping for his middle school neighborhood friend. Like what the fuck is that about? That's mad creepy. You should not be hanging out with like a 13-year-old and grooming her. Speaking of grooming, this is a story that's currently a hot topic issue in Korea right now. It's about a professional dancer named Young Jae. He's from Street Woman Fighter. He had been grooming this young girl, a student of his, at his studio, and he impregnated her, which is why so many of his street crew members or whatever, his dance studio members, all quit on the spot. So why I wanted to bring the current Young Jae situation up is because not only is it relevant, but it also just goes to show you that due to the hierarchical nature of Korean society, abuse of power happens on so many levels in every facet of Korean society. And I can attest to that personally. I've obviously seen it play out in my family dynamics. I've seen it play out in work dynamics. I've seen it play out in my parents and how they communicate with their peers. It's just something that is so ingrained in the fabric of the makeup of Korean society that it's no wonder that such a radical feminist movement such as the 4B movement spurred up in the first place. It's an extreme reaction to what women are feeling, how they're feeling oppressed by their male counterparts. This is already so fucking long and I could just continue to talk about this, but I have a lot more personal anecdotal examples that I could share with you, so just let me know your thoughts. And I love you, Anna. I'm not trying to send you hate. I'm really not. I just think I'm just here to open dialogue, discourse.
Why do women today expect so much more from men than women did generations ago? That's a good question. I assumed it was because women are more independent and they know it'd be better to stay single than have a partner with no capacity or desire to meet the basic needs that any relationship requires to survive. What? I thought we were talking about expectations. Right. Feels like we're gonna need the clipboard for this one. Where are you hiding clipboards? Okay, hit me with some unreasonable expectations. Okay. Well, you know as well as I do, they're expecting so much more emotional garbage from us now. Okay. Women want the bare minimum levels of intimacy and connection. What else? They're always complaining about the mutual chores and the domestic labor. Listen, I don't care if the dishes get done. Okay. Equality and shared responsibility. Anything else? Men were just more free back in the day. If they wanted to go to the bar, they went to the bar. It didn't have to be a big deal. Okay. Women don't want to be neglected or overlooked anymore. So needy. We can't even like and follow half-naked pictures of models online without getting an earful about it. Women want a partner with integrity that they can actually trust. And don't even get me started if, God forbid, we have a fight together. Oh. She wants us to take turns speaking, trying to understand, validate, and empathize with each other's experience. I'm sorry, what? Oh my gosh, women want mutual respect. What has this world come to? She wants me to set aside time in the day to talk to her about my day and my feelings and stuff. Basic communication skills. She wants me to hug her instead of just groping her. I'm sorry, beggars can't be choosers. I believe they call that one affection. I just don't get it. I don't understand how you can't see how unfair it is for men out here. Yeah, I'm seeing something all right. I think we're the problem.
So it certainly seems at this point that South Korea has successfully exported the 4B movement to the United States, and I think that's fantastic. South Korea, from what I understand, is a particularly misogynistic society, and so women there over the last 4 or 5 years have just said, relative to men, we're not going to date you, we're not going to marry you, we're not going to have sex with you, we're not going to have kids with you, we're checking out. In the Korean language, all 4 of those activities start with the letter B, hence the 4B movement. And now that is making its way to the United States. I've been seeing quite a bit of 4B related content that women are posting on TikTok. A lot of my friends who are women are posting a lot of that stuff. I think it's fantastic. I think it's awesome, because basically it's just like, until you guys get your shit together and become, actually self-actualized human beings, just decent human beings, and start treating women like decent human beings, we're checking out. We're not gonna have anything to do with you. And of course, the United States, being the United States with its bro culture and incels and men's rights activists and all of this stuff, the guys who are freaking out, there are a lot of guys posting TikToks where they're freaking out. They're extremely angry about the 4B movement coming to the United States, because on some level they know that they are the reason why that's happening. They're dumb, but they're not stupid. They know. They just feel entitled to women. And it's like, yeah, I hear that women want men to change and make all of these adjustments. I shouldn't have to do that in order to have access to women, is their perspective. And so now they've created some 4G movement, which I don't even know what that stands for. I'm not sure. But it's all these angry, alpha male, high value men, incel types who know that they are the problem. They know that they're the problem. They just don't care. They've yeah, I'm the problem, and I shouldn't have to change anything, because they feel that men are superior to women. and they will never in a million years ever view women as their equal. And which is projection. That's projection at its finest, because like a lot of these women who are speaking out in favor of the 4B movement, these men know that they will never be equal to those women. They're far inferior to those women because they are dumb. And they're just, the temper tantrums these guys are throwing is specifically because they understand on some level that they are the problem. And they're angry about that, but they're just projecting it outwards. It's funny. It's fun to watch. But they're cracking up hard.
I don't know how many times we have to tell y'all this same exact thing. Men do not provide women with protection. Y'all are the reason we need it. If there were no men on this planet, women would feel free to wear whatever they wanted, go wherever they wanted at any time of day, and they wouldn't worry. This is a story that y'all have told y'all selves to feel better about your own behavior. Come up with a new lie to tell yourself. This one is getting fucking boring.
Listen, some of y'all ladies gonna have to settle. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but listen, everybody can't have a perfect man out here. It ain't even enough of us around, like, let's be honest. So at the end of the day, we can go ahead and put that 50-50 conversation to rest, because every woman ain't gonna get 80, 20, 100, 0, whatever y'all thinking is gonna be 60, 40. Some of y'all gonna have to go 50-50, and shit, y'all might gotta go 60-40 on your end with the man, just to be happy at the end of the day. Like, let's be realistic. Come on now. Somebody gonna have to settle, man. That's all I'm saying. All the straight men that's left in the world, a lot of them is in jail. A lot of them married. What do that leave left? Everybody can't have they cake and eat it too. Like, you can't have the best of the best. Sometimes you gotta just go for what you got and be happy and be grateful, because you can have nothing at the end of the day and be miserable. Come on now. J. Cole said, love yours. I gotta take this in consideration. Be told, it's actually the black man's fault that the black woman is masculine. And I know I like to get on women's ass and hold them accountable a lot on my page, but this one is really for the men right here. See, nowadays I'm seeing a lot of black men go overseas and get non-American women just to disrespect the women of African descent. And to be honest, that's working backwards. See, why run from the problem if you had a hand in it? We as a community, as black men, we had a hand in black women being masculine. So why not be accountable for that? Instead, I see a lot of men being cowards, playing the blame game and putting it right back on the black woman. But that's exactly what the man wants you to do. Think about it. They trying to destroy us and put us against each other. They've been trying that for the longest, and now they trying it in different ways. You got black women saying they don't need a man for nothing. And then we got black men trying to go overseas and marry women that are not of the African descent. And the truth be told, black women still marry black men at a higher rate than black men choose black women to marry. And that's sad when we actually cause a lot of this masculinity. If we didn't get taken out the homes, number one, when it came to prison, we would have been in the homes from the 70s to being able to actually instill that discipline that would have kept a lot of our black boys off the street. But instead, the women had to hold that household down and do everything. Pay the bills, teach the child, raise the child, instill discipline. And we seen that didn't get us nowhere because, once again, where were the black men at? None of this has to do with the black women. That's the sad part about it. It's more about the system and the decisions that that black man chooses to make. If you decide to leave that home, that's on you. And if not, and you was taken off the streets based off of jail or drugs, again, that's a decision that you chose to make. You knew what the laws was, and they were set up to make you fail so you cannot be in the home. So you should have did your best due diligence to prevent that from happening. Black women having to do everything and raise our kids by themselves and hold down the household by themselves is a big reason why they're masculine. They don't trust it. They don't trust black men. They don't trust the history, and I don't blame them. So what we have to do as black men in the whole is be accountable and figure out how to be patient with our women. Figure out how to build our women back up morally and trust in us and believe in us and actually stay on the streets again, stay out of jail, and build businesses, build wealth in our community, and teach our kids and keep our kids out of jail. Discipline them correctly. You can't do that if you're not in the home. A lot of this has to do with black men. A lot of the people that's, going around killing and doing all this robbing, those are black men. Those are black boys. at one point, and they needed a father, they needed discipline. When they didn't get that, they ended up looking for it at the wrong place. And we all know how this goes. So again, you need to place some accountability. We need that, black man.
Get somebody else to do it.
I had to take